none of us could afford to really put our head down in the sand and just cover our eyes from what's going on. We have to be actively, honestly, with everything that we have, seeking the Most High. Because if we don't, and if we're not, then that's part of the reason why we don't see the things clear as we should. Because for one, there's a lot of deception. And if you don't understand Bible prophecy and how the word of God foretold all the things that are happening in each of our lives. But when you begin to live a little bit and you begin to analyze and reflect on life, and from the vantage point where you are now, by the grace afforded to each and every one of us, you're able to see that prayerfully you are. To those whose eyes are open or becoming open. There's some people's eyes who are still shut and they cannot see it. They don't care to see it. And what could we say for someone like that? Our heartfelt, I don't want to say wishes, but our prayers is that they would be converted and return to the Most High. That's it. Return to the Most High. Because if not, I'm telling you, but the scripture says that the Most High knows his times. So he had appointed a time for everything to take place. So what I've seen just 6 days ago, and that you all seen 6 days ago, we had people, and even prior to that, the 4 years prior to that, with the administration of, us living in America, the world at large in general. You've been hearing what? Excuse me there. War, rumors of war. You've been seeing the reports, and I mean, all of this stuff that you're being, to an extent, almost like bombarded with, because you're seeing it. Now, some people are like, well, I don't want to watch that because it's negative and it brings me down, right? That's not an excuse either, because, the thing is that we are supposed to be, as the people of God, we are supposed to be the light bearers that truly have the light. We are as Israel, we are the salt of the earth, right? And as believers in Hamashiach, we are supposed to be walking circumspectly, exhorting one another as we see the day approaching to do what? Stay in the fear of the Most High. Because if we don't, then we begin to, how do you say it? We get tired, like your life. That's my life. I'm not going to speak for my life. My life is fully devoted to the Most High. And I've cut out anything that is going to be, how do I say this? Be a threat to that would threaten that. Anything that would try to tarnish that. Anything that would try to pull me away from that. It's like, I don't want anything to do with that. So my main focus has been getting into the kingdom, keeping my house in order, walking in the tenets of the faith, and sharing from faith to faith to those who also want to do what? Who want to model that same thing, that they want to embrace that. They want to apply that to their lives, so that way when it's all said and done, when Hamashiach comes, that they can see that they're able to enter into that straight and narrow gate. So it's our actions, our actions and our follow-up and following through by doing it. But in the process of that, there's times where we have with the little boo-boos or mistakes, little hiccups, and we get caught up. Nonetheless, you have to pick yourself back up and go harder. So I'm stating all that to say that there's times where, and you all know that, where I can be like, as a ministry, like I'm grieved, like, man, this is who can say, who's really gonna get it? I can't tell you how many people that I come across, maybe just in passing, or people who say they believe the same, and we would talk or whatever the case is, and they say they're believers, but I don't hear from them or see from them ever again. And that's fine. I'm fine, because it was all about me taking heed to myself and the doctrine, the way that I live. I can't just be someone that's just saying this, like I'm up here like before you all today talking as if I'm a man of God, and then during the rest of the week I'm not thinking about the Most High. I'm thinking about whatever it is that I'm, let's say if I was at work or whatever the case, at a work site or at a client, and I'm eyeballing women down, or just I'm trying to finagle my way to get money and just for me to get ahead, then that would be what? That would be a stain. That would be, a farce. I'd be a fraud if I was doing that. But the fact of the matter is that I think of nothing. There's nothing more than I want for myself and for you all as the believers than to enter into the straight gate and to really have true peace. So today I want to talk about it. In part 5, I showed you how there were those in Christendom who said what? They said that America did what? Have they come to recognize and realize that she's on her turnaround, that she's turning back to her God? Remember the thing that the president, that's the president now, he stated, we will not forget what? They will not forget their God. Okay? So when you say God, well, what God? Because Yeshaya, he said that through prophecy, prophetically, he went through all of the nations and none of them were with him. None of them. So is the Most High God the God of Christianity? Is he the God of Islam? Is he the God of, is he just of these particular religions? Is he the God of, of what the Christian world says? Or do they really know the true living God? Because he says that he's coming for a remnant. So when he comes, I'm going to read his word today. So we get and we hear what people are saying, but when we hear what they're saying and we evaluate that to what the Most High, when I'm saying God, I'm speaking of a higher. I'm speaking of the great I am. So even when those who are in Christianity or even those who are in the faith, as known as Israelites, or whatever the case is, and know that the Israelites, are they following the tenets of the Almighty? Are they truly keeping what he says? Because pushing confusion, and I'm talking to you all because you all here. I'm talking to whoever would listen, who is listening to this, because I need you to realize the severity, how serious that this is. I really do. And then they told people, what else? So much that they did. My goodness, there's so many things that goes unchecked, like meaning that they can say or push whatever they want to do, and then people take it as that's what it is, right? And in other words, like let's say that they have something that's supposed to be, they're portraying as something that's supposed to be good for you, to help you. So when they say that a child, if a child all of a sudden wanted to have a procedure, they were pushing this. They say a child can, if a child that was born a male, okay, a young man, a man child, if he wanted to be a female, then he can go, and vice versa. If there was a young female and she's saying that she wanted to be, or she's feeling that, that she's a male, that she don't identify with a female. Right. So, but again, what we see is the publicity of normalcy, of making this normal, that your eyes are getting people acclimated into it. And not only that, but to assimilate.
It was bad.
Well, I'm sorry, Michelle, what'd you say?
Like when we were younger, like
right.
if someone to come out and say they were gay, that was a bad
right.
Like to joke.
Right.
Like you don't, like now it's everybody. Right. It's everywhere.
What else did they push? They pushed division. They said the other side. And I need you to hear this. The other side. They pushed their political thing. They pushed patriotism to an extent, but then even with the patriotism, they divided. And I'm not into politics or whatever the case is, but I'm watching it and seeing it because that politics is a religion of ancient Rome. See, it's a religion. It's a religion.
This is
right.
Not new. This is something that before they couldn't just.
Yeah.
It couldn't be open, even in the time of Rome. You know, it still was hidden unless you were rich, and then you just did it within. You know what I mean? But it was like a ruler, really was. And so everyone was hidden, and now they're just slowly making it to where it's out. So now in our time, it's just it's okay, it's normal.
That's what I was going to say. So they're making it like it's acceptable.
Yeah.
And then one thing, Michelle, and if anyone who stands on moral principles based on bibliology, God's word, the Most High's word, then it makes them out and vilify them. It vilifies them as being what? Oh, these people are extreme. These people are, how do you say it? Judgmental. And only God, and you know what, they're just too extreme, because now people evolve, and God knows my heart. And if a man wanted to be with the man, or a woman with the woman, right? God, as long as they love each other, they say, this is what they pushed. Okay, this is what they pushed. They pushed this out. So I want us to remember that, because they did that. This was to do what? To invoke and to incite or enrage the people, to get the people to go to do what? To separate the people into ideologies. Well, if you believe that, and if you believe that it's morally okay for you. Now, see, when we say moral means what? When you look up that definition of moral, let me just get it really quick.
11 years old. If she wanted to go to the doctor,
Mhm.
they cannot tell me.
That's what I was going to,
get an abortion, if she wants to get birth control, whatever.
Are you seeing this?
My coworker had, and she just took her to the doctor recently for something. She was waiting for her test results, and they said, no, we cannot. You can't have that. You're not.
Are you?
She can't. She can even log on to see her child's stuff because she was over that age. I said, that is crazy.
So there we go.
None of that passed. Any time that you took him to the doctor used to be on there would say your visit, what you went for. Now, no past visit, nothing. It won't say nothing because the child's now.
So what we see is a imposition against true family values, or the family that the Most High had ordained, right? So we're seeing this attack. Huh?
You're taking away that parent's control over
right.
their child.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For the parent to govern and watch over, like, remember, what was it? Was it last? I think it was last Sabbath. It was last Sabbath. I said, as a parent, if you lived or your house was by a busy street and you set up barriers, right? Of hedges of protection around your children. Like, listen, hey, if you want to go out, do not go outside if I'm not out there to watch you out there, because there's cars fly up the street, and a few months ago someone got hit. Maybe last year someone died in the same. If you go out there, I may tell you once, but if you do it again, and I know you want to play, but time doesn't permit for me to watch you right now. If you go out there, I'm going to have to set fire to your rear, right? And so now all of a sudden, let's say that in your house, you set fire to your children's rear because you want to make sure that they understand the dangers, that if they go out there, something catastrophic can happen that can affect them health-wise or eliminate their lives. So the family across the street or down the street, it's just, it's open door policy. The kids can just do what they want to do, walk over the parents, they come out, do what they want to do. No one says nothing. Yeah. See, so the Most High is having his sons and daughters saying, listen, our power is a God of order. He chastises his sons and daughters. See? Yeah. So when we come into his house, this is the type of doctrine and this is the type of message that we are to embrace and hold to. But oftentimes in the world that we live in, mankind alone, individuals do not like being told what to do, right? We don't like to be told what to do. No one particularly likes it, because you're like, well, you're telling me something why? Because if someone's telling you something, they have to go based off of what standard? Because here we're talking about morals, right? So the society says, well, your household, Haman, your household, you believe in traditional biblical marriage between one man, one woman, right? The other people or another family might say, well, no, we believe in marriages, what? Two or one man or two men or two women, or they could say one man and three women, or vice versa. They could say two women and one man. Well, who's to tell what's right? That's what I'm trying to get at right now. Who's to say what's right? Yeah. The Most High is to say what's right. Why? Because at the end, everyone has to give an answer to him. So he trumps my. So if I believe, and I'm stating that, I'm going on the record, I believe in biblical marriage. I believe that the Most High only identifies marriage between the man and the woman. Okay, that's it. So if they convince and they push something else and they begin to accept it, and the whole society begin to accept it, and I don't accept that, and I'm not teaching my children that, then they'll say, well, wait a minute, then you know what? You're being judgmental, and that's not fair because now you're going to hurt the people in my house's feelings.
Yeah.
Well, the Most High said, listen, forget your feelings. Because, I mean, I know that's hard to hear, but again, would you rather have your kid out in the street because everyone else, because they didn't get ran over? One kid didn't get ran over, but what about that family who did lose the child, got ran over?
Right.
See? So moral or morality, when we're talking about moral, we're talking about it's concerned with the principles of right and wrong. That brings us right back into the conversation. We talked about justification. Justification means when it's all said and done, and you stand before the Most High, will you be justified? Can you stand based on something that you did yourself, or did you embrace the values or the principles or the law that God instilled in you? See, so now we live in a society which is lawless. I told us that I was going to talk about antinomianism. What that means, antinomianism means the practice of lawlessness. So what they begin to do, they'll say, well, because why? They say, well, we're a Christian country, we are Christians, but yet their morals, you have people who are man with man. They say they're Christians. You have people who are women with women. They say they're Christians, right? So what really is it? What is the standard that we are supposed to go by? It's God's word. So in other words, the Most High is going to hold every last one of us accountable. Every last one of us, starting with what? Your very thoughts. So if the society that which we live in, that you live in now, that your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, right? And your future, the future posterity, that means those who come from you, they're going to be alive in this. What are you going to do now? If you understand, like if you get it, so you get it, you know what's morally right. Let's say, just for the sake of argument, or not to argue, for clarification, we believe emphatically that God's word trumps everything. Everything. And when we say God, we're talking about the Most High. His word trumps everything. Do you agree?
Yes.
So that means even if something that I don't realize or understand now, when given revelation and through the Most High showing and teaching me, I'm going to have to do what? Surrender and submit to his will. That his word is inherently right because he is the Almighty. He is the one who's moral. So my character, my actions, my deeds, my speech is not based on anything from my own, how would you say it? My own merits, but I learned this from the one, my creator, who we all have to, we all have to embrace and follow what he says. So now that we see that moral is concerned with what? Principles of right and wrong behavior in the goodness or badness of human character.